Welcome everybody to this episode of Strong Perspective Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Keith Armstrong, along with
Uncle Spoke.
and our special guest, Jerome Hall. Introduce yourself, Jerome. You gotta take yourself off mute.
How everybody doing? This is Jerome Battle the Badges Hall. Pleasure to be here. It's an honor. I always wanted to do something like this, so I'm looking forward to the show today.
Okay.
Welcome, brother. Welcome, bro.
Welcome to you, man. Thank you for coming on. Our brother Damon is doing some boo loving today, so he's on a nice little weekend trip with the wife. So enjoy it, brother. We'll see you next week. We got to do that from time to time. Being married, man, that's what we got to do.
Yeah, you got to do that.
You know what I mean? So we'll do a little bit of housekeeping. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. Do us a favor, go to our YouTube channel, like, share, and subscribe. You know what I mean? Build our situation up. I've been saying this for the last maybe 6 or 7 of them. No, probably longer than that. That we every 5 minutes, as somebody's talking on here, we quote unquote is doing the viral something is being said that could go viral. Be our guest. As long as if you got more or you got less than us or you have more than us, be our guest to take that little snippet out there and just make sure you give us credit. Strong Perspective Podcast, but put it up on your page, man. Blow us up. We appreciate it. Whatever's going on. You know what I mean? Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, today. No, let's do it. Let's keep it going. Jaquari, how was your day today, brother? It's a Saturday. It's kind of different from our Friday night.
I know it's different, man. This you kind of bled into my nap time or whatever, but I'm here. And, I've been actually trying to do the best I can to doggone reconcile Olympic breakdancing, man. Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know if
I didn't know that was a thing. I'm sorry.
I don't know if anybody did, bro. But I just filled my afternoon with it, and I like I said, I don't know how to feel about it, man. There's pride, there's a good amount of disdain, and I don't know where that comes from. Yeah, don't know where it comes from, but it's there.
Is it because when you was a young and this is something that most people don't know about Jaquari. Jaquari was a pop locker. He would and moonwalk all over the place. About 6'5" doing that shit, but he could do it though.
I tried it I've been trying to tell people, and I had a pretty mean knee span too. But I've been trying to tell people, man, but they don't believe me or whatever, man. Don't nobody believe me, but about none of my athletic prowess though. Back in the day, though, I don't know what kind. I don't know what kind of man that I've melded into, but I can't say nothing without somebody trying to Google it. Yeah. And the thing is, shit, you can't really Google nothing about my sports past. Well, you can probably microfiche it, but you can't Google it.
That's what happens when you're old head. Well, speaking of passing, you and Jerome got something in common, man. Y'all got some to be some tall brothers. Y'all got a hell of a rhythm, man. Jerome, how was your day today, brother?
My day been good. I've been looking forward to being on this podcast. Like I said, I always wanted to do one. Been doing a little research, but when you called me, I said I had to take the opportunity to get up here and speak my truth and let the world see what I'm really about.
Yeah. Hey, look, thank you again, man, because like I told you when I asked, I said, really and truly, especially when you told me that you were interested in doing a podcast, I said, man, you have that personality. And that is probably 75% of it, to be honest with you. It's just just getting there and deciding what you want to talk about and do your thing. Let it permeate through the screen. You feel what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. When Keith told me that you were interested in starting your own podcast, man, I'm like, yeah, I'm glad that you would have the opportunity to kind of dip your toe in the water with us, man. But I gotta warn you, this thing could be addictive. It could be addictive, man. Seriously, man. Especially if you're good at it. When you get good at it, man, Don't fall into the crap, the trap of critiquing yourself too heavy, man.
Yeah, don't do that,
You know
man.
what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
I don't even watch it. I don't even watch it, man, because from the feedback I get from my brothers, man, people, like some of the things that I had to say. So I'm not about to go back and what? How much time we got? 5:45. Yeah, I'm not about to go back and fuck that up.
Right,
You
right.
know?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
that's another thing, Jerome.
yeah,
We
yeah.
try to go within the 5 before we, in your future doing your podcast, even though you don't curse as much as we
Mhm.
do. 5 minutes, man. Make sure, because YouTube will come and mess with your stuff if you start it off. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because
The
Gotcha.
first,
it's aggressive rhetoric. You don't want to
yeah,
do that.
yeah.
You don't want to
The
be
Okay,
a part.
first,
gotcha.
the first five got to be clean, bro.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, see, and that's another thing. Jerome, why don't you do this? Let's start the first part of it. Tell us a little bit about who you are, man.
Okay, like I said, my name is Jerome Hall. I was born and raised in Baltimore, Maryland, and Baltimore County, one of the oldest black communities in Baltimore County. Couple of names that's from the community: Kwasi Mfume. Went to school with my parents. Grant Hill's father, to play for Dallas. He went to school with my parents. Then he left when he did very well in football. So my community got a lot of historic stuff. Heretta Lacks is from Turner Station. If you know the story about her, they took her cells and used it to find all these scientific diseases and saved a lot of people, and didn't tell the family that they used her cells. So John Hopkins is
Yeah.
indebted to them for the rest of their lives. So they still trying to settle. I don't know what that's worth, but it's worth a lot. So my community helped raise me. Definitely helped raise me. My parents are still together. I grew up with a mother and father. One grandmother was across the street. Another grandmother was up the street. Aunt and uncles was in the neighborhood. So I'm blessed to have been growing up like that. So I'm very blessed about it.
Okay. Okay. See, and that's a beautiful thing, man. Me and my brothers, we have both parents. You know what I mean? And a lot of times, I try to explain to people, like, listen, you know, it's a blessing to have both parents in the house, but don't divide us because you only had one. You feel what I'm saying? Because I understand that maybe you getting shortchanged because you had a mother or you just had a father. But the thing about it is you had somebody. You know what I'm saying? Especially if they're not, uh, if they weren't uh, abusive, verbally, emotionally, spiritually, if they were just trying to do the best they can, because that's what it's about. You know what I mean? Also, so Jerome, we have you have I'd say colorful, but it's a lack of a better word. You have a distinguishedly uh, interesting background in what you grew up, right? So tell
Mhm.
us a little bit about high school, and then as you went into the military.
So when I grew up, I played, back then it was called Pop Warner. I played football. I played lacrosse. I was the only black on the lacrosse team, like AAU. And I wrestled for a wrestling AAU team. And that's all I did was lacrosse, football, and wrestling. I kind of fell in love with lacrosse. I didn't know nothing about lacrosse. And I went to school elementary day. They had a day at the school, and I seen this team out there playing against another team, but I didn't know what the sport was. So I kind of was standing there, and the ball came to the side and it hit me in the head and knocked me out. So I'm laying on the ground, got my
Oh,
little sister with me, and I woke up and they was like, "You all right?" And I said, "What happened?" And he's like, "You got hit with a lacrosse ball." They gave it to me. I said, "Why I feel like that?" And he said, "You know about this sport?" And I said, "No, I don't know about this sport." And I said, "It's like football because y'all out there hitting." So I went home and I told my father, I said, "Dad, I want to learn about lacrosse." And he said, "You need to go to the library and learn about it." So I went to the library, looked it up, and I came home. I said, "Dad, the Indians invented lacrosse." He said, "Yep, they sure did." I said, "Well, why a lot of white guys play it?" He said, "Well, they do." He said, "But it's one black great lacrosse player from college. And I said, who is that? And he said, you heard of Jim Brown? I said, the football player? He said he went to Syracuse. He was one of the top lacrosse college players. And I didn't know that. I did not know that. And from then, I just fell in love with the sport and started playing. So football was my thing. I played center and nose guard in football. Then when I got to high school, I did the same thing. I wrestled, played lacrosse my freshman year. The team got suspended because somebody was on the back of a bus and pulled their clothes off while somebody was driving behind the bus, and they suspended the team that year. So I didn't play no more lacrosse, but I played football all the way up to my junior year, and I was doing work study, and the football coach didn't allow me to play my senior year because I was working. And I was working doing them in the morning, so I missed the summer practices. So he didn't allow me to play. So my friends, I was about 5'6", 5'7". So my friends said, yo, you getting kind of tall. I was real skinny. He said, why don't you go out for the basketball team? The only basketball I knew was when we go down there and play street ball. You know, we ain't had no referees, nothing like that. So 3 friends, Jimmy Thomas, Charles Hebron, and Tony Pierce, took me down there, gave me a ball, said, man, you should go out for the basketball team. And I was like, whatever. But my junior year of wrestling, I was kind of ranked in the state for wrestling. So I said, let me just go to the practice. So I went to the practicing, and I made the team. And then the first game of the season, they called my name and said I was starting. And I was like, I can't believe it. Like, I ain't have no experience. I never played AAU, none of that. And I averaged 10 points and 10 rebounds my senior year. And I was very proud of it. So from there, right after I graduated May 31st, 1987. 2 days later, I was in Parris Island, South Carolina, Marine Corps boot camp. And I did the Marine Corps from 87 to 92. When I was in the Marine Corps, I tried out for the Marine Corps basketball team, but I was in the infantry unit, and my colonel told me, you ain't signed up to dribble no ball in the Marine Corps. So after that, I just did my time. And then after I did that, I came home back to Baltimore, and I didn't work for a couple of months. So I'm just, relaxing. I did 5 years, getting up every morning at 5 o'clock. So I said, let me find something. So somebody hooked me up with a job at Johns Hopkins in security. I did that. And then one of my good friends from the Marine Corps, he was working at the federal prison in New York City, and asked me, hey, we hiring. You got your stuff? And I filled it out. And I started my career at the Federal Detention Center in Brooklyn, New York, which is called MDC Brooklyn. And I was there from 95 to 97. So while I was there, every May, the first weekend in May is Correctional Officer Week. So I was part of the union, and they said, hey, what are we going to do for Correctional Officer Week? So they said, well, we play MCC. That's the prison in Manhattan where Epstein committed suicide at, allegedly. So we played them every year. So they gave me a credit card, and I went out and put it all together. But I added something to it. So I called the prison in Connecticut. It's called Danbury, and asked them, did they have, officers that play basketball? I said, well, look, we play MCC every year, and we beat them the last 2 years. If y'all play MCC, and we'll play the winner. So they brought a whole bus down, about 60 people. And that was the first time that I officially put a basketball tournament together. So from there, I came back. I moved back home to Baltimore, but then I got hired for U.S. Immigration Naturalization Service, which is now Homeland Security. So I got back, and I was playing basketball around different summer leagues. I played in 2 pro-ams, and PG County, Prince George's County Police asked me to go to the World Police Games. And most people don't know the World Police Olympics is bigger than the regular Olympics. It was in Cocoa Beach, Florida. It was in 1999. I never seen nothing like that in my life. And it was we had 8 players, and they asked me to go to be on the team. And I went, and out of 32 teams, we came in 6th place. Mm-hmm. So that was 99. So little fast forward, I'm still playing in the local FOP leagues, Fraternal Order Police leagues. And then in 2000, my mentor, Trooper Edward M. Tolley of Maryland State Police, was killed in the line of duty. And I just wanted to do something to honor him. So an officer named Matthews James Matthews in Connecticut had just had a law enforcement tournament outside. So we had the tournament. I played for Baltimore City. We won that tournament outside. 6 players. We went all the way up to Waterbury, Connecticut, and won that tournament. So when my mentor died, I called him and said, what could I do to, I want to put a tournament together. So at that time, the internet wasn't around. He sent me all the stuff in a packet, and I got it. He said, just change the name. So I named the tournament the Edward M. Totley Law Enforcement Challenge. And that my first tournament was in 2001. I had 10 teams: Maryland State Police, Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Anne Arundel County, and one team from out of state was NYPD, and they came and won it. And then after that, an officer from NYPD, he put the word out that I was doing a tournament in Baltimore. So I started getting these phone calls from LA, Chicago, Houston, Connecticut, Florida, Virginia. Like, hey, we heard you doing a tournament. I said, no, I'm not doing no tournament. I did one little thing. And they say, well, your tournament is the best tournament. So turn around 2003, I did my first tournament, official tournament, my second tournament. I had 18 teams. The furthest team that traveled was LAPD. And people in my neighborhood, my community didn't believe that I had all these teams coming in town. And when they came to our school and seen it, and it just took off. So after a few years, we changed the name to the Battle of the Badges Law Enforcement Basketball Tournament. And we've been doing it since 2001. We honor fallen officers killed in the line of duty, death by illness or death by accident. And it's just been an honor and pleasure to honor officers, to give back, to let the families know that their service was not in vain. And I'm very well known around the country and around the world almost about the Battle of the Badges. So when I started my tournament, you had other officers from different cities want to do what I was doing. So henceforward, now you have the Atlanta shootout, you have the Dallas shootout, you have the New York City Battle of the Badges. You just had the New Jersey Battle of the Badges in July. They just celebrated 10 years. And then one of the officers from Connecticut, he was from Dominican Republic. And he called me one night and said he wanted to do a tournament like mine, but he wanted to do it in the Dominican Republic. And I said, well, what you gonna name it? And I was coming up with all these names, and I gave him the name, Lights and Siren International Basketball Tournament. So the Battle of the Badges has took me a lot of places. I met a lot of great officers, and it's just been an honor and pleasure. And also, we had the Canada Battle of the Badges. So it's just been a great experience. Definitely a great experience.
Okay, so I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
And for the Dominican Republic, did you go down and become an advisor for?
No, I haven't even attended that tournament yet. He did send me a plaque to honor me. And next year, 2025, I plan on attending. And with that tournament, he does humanitarian things. So he bring toys, clothes. Dominican Republic, they roll out the red carpet for that tournament. You have officers from Rhode Island, Connecticut, Texas, Memphis, and they all go. So they play the police down there in the military, and it's just been a great thing. And I haven't been. And he always asks me, when you gonna come? When you gonna come? So I'm planning to make my first appearance in 2025.
Let me know when you go. All right. I'll
yes. Yes, it's a great experience. It's a great experience. And also, them same officers got together a couple years ago, and at orphanage, they built a full-length basketball court for the kids.
Okay.
So they do a lot of humanitarian stuff in the Dominican Republic, but not just the Battle of the Badges. Since the Battle of the Badges, we have officers collect shoes at a tournament that I've done in Miami. I had officers that host tournaments. We got collected 20 shoes, and we gave them to an elementary school. They picked the kids, and we had an open ceremony, and we gave out 22. So the Battle of the Badges, I tell people, law enforcement basketball is bigger than what you may assume. People that got jobs, people that got married, people that did other stuff. We have an officer from Atlanta. He's retired. He started Clipper and Cops, where you go to the barbershop and have real conversation with police. And he's doing a wonderful job. He's been on TNT with Shaq and them. So through all this, just playing basketball and all of us just working in law enforcement, public safety, corrections, firefighters, you do more than just basketball.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
It's a hell of a story, man. It's a hell of a
Thank you,
story.
thank you, thank you.
That,
Hey,
man,
before we go, you got to shout out your family, man, because I don't want you to get in any trouble once you're done.
Well, I definitely want to give a shout out to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, but I definitely want to give a shout out to my parents, Jerome and Gail Brenda Hall in Baltimore, and my wife and my son. He just graduated from high school this year, so I'm trying to get him on a good foot and start his life and stuff like that. But anybody that had
Hold on. Say their names, brothers.
oh,
Say
okay.
their names.
My wife's name is Sharika Hall. My son's name is Tristan Jerome Hall. Like I said, anybody that had an influence on my life, from coaches from 9/11, Pop Warner, all the way up to even now. Even you, Big Armstrong. When I met Armstrong, I came to the sheriff office. I was just high up on networking, and then I told them they took me to South Carolina. It's a funny story. They took me to South Carolina. And they was like, we going to this law enforcement tour. You want to go? I was like, yeah. So we go down there. And as soon as I see NYPD, I'm like, yo, I know all of them. So they come up like, Jerome, where you at? Where you working at now? I said, yo, I work for Wake County. They was like, for real. And they was telling Armstrong, I was like, yo, this guy know everybody.
Yeah.
So we played. And then I came back to Wake County. We had our own team. We won a championship. Armstrong was on that team. And when people started seeing what I do with the Battle of the Badges, they were just like blown away, like, yo, how these officers just take the time to come and play, spend their own money, take their own vacation time. And it's just a big thing. And I did it with no 501c3, no donations, big donations. I had people play for flyers, people buy a basketball here and there, buy some referee whistles. When I first started the Battle of the Badges, I had my little cousin. I think he was 6 years old, and he was at the front door with his friends. And I used to buy them pizza. And we used to charge $1 at the door. And they was like, you got this little kid at the door trying to talk to all the women. And and him and his crew, I was like, Munch, you want to make his name Munch? And I said, you want to make some money? He was like, yeah. I said, look, I need somebody to work the door. He said, you don't mind if my friends? And he did it for 3 or 4 years, just working the front door.
Yeah.
So it was very family oriented. I have one staff member, her name is Melanie Smith. She retired from Maryland Department of Corrections. When Trooper Tolley got killed, she went to high school with him. So I had called her and told her that I wanted to honor him and, raise some money for her son going to school. So her and Maya Collins, they was my first people that I talked to about it. And like I said, I did not think it would grow from 2001 to 2024.
Oh, yeah.
And I never thought it would take off like it did. I never, in a million years, I would never take off like it did. And like the New Jersey Battle of the Badges, I met Detective McCargo on Facebook. She seen what I was doing, hit me up 10 years ago and said, how can I do what you're doing? I said, well, you got to get a gym. You got to do this, da-da-da. So she celebrated 10 years last month. And I went up there and presented her with a plaque because it take a lot to put a tournament together.
It does.
It take a whole lot, from hotels, making sure whatever city that you do it in is safe. So the Battle of the Badges, we hosted tournaments in Baltimore City, Baltimore County, Prince George's County, Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, Jacksonville, Charlotte, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham, and I'm probably missing some, but that was my whole thing, to try to take it to go to these different cities and honor these different officers. So I still got a few I want to do, like Houston, Texas, Orlando, Tennessee, and try to do something in Chicago or Illinois or something, because they always say we scared to come to Chicago, which I'm kind of am, but I definitely would love to come and host a tournament up there for a fallen officer.
Yeah, I was just in Chicago last week, man. It takes a bad rap. It takes a bad rap, man. But I just want to say, man, it's a testament, man, that public service, extends to far outside of the uniform, man. And well into our off hours. Your public service, all the time. If that's your mentality, man, I appreciate that, man.
I pretty much thank you.
And thank you for your service, brother.
Yeah, I've always admired it. Always have. You know what I mean? It's a funny thing. You speak about. I chuckled a little bit when you said this is a Baltimore guy saying that he nervous about Chicago.
Yeah, it
Look,
flashed in my mind like,
both the cities have that kind of reputation. You hear me?
Right.
But the thing about Chicago is real quick. Chicago is a mixture of culture and art, and also that lost element too. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's everywhere now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not just picking on Chicago, but just to know, us being from Detroit and the Detroit area, right? We know Chicago people.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? And it's just, just like with Detroit, it's the same thing. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's rich in heritage and art and culture, but it has that
stigma.
Yeah.
And it's funny that before we started the podcast, your brother was talking about he was a pop locker. I'm pretty much known for dancing, but I haven't been to Chicago, but I am a house head.
Yeah,
and that is on my bucket list, to go to Chicago, not to go eat, not to go see no museums. I got to go to a bona fide Chicago house music club, and I just got to get mine one time in Chicago. One time.
I was going to move to that, man, because like I said, tell me a little bit about your history when it comes to house music and all of that.
Well, that's funny. My uncle used to be a bodyguard at a club, and the first time I heard him play a song, it was Colonel Abrams, and that just stuck in my mind, Colonel Abrams. And then over the years, when I heard Tent City from Chicago and all the disco music, I just kind of like, that's what I want to learn. And then, in Baltimore, we have our style of house music and a lot of hand dancing. Yeah. And I kind of just, like you said, your brother's 6'5", I'm 6'6". When you see a tall guy out there getting his life on the dance floor, people look. So they be like, yo, how you learn that? So when I moved to New York, I'm in New York City, and one of the guys that kind of mentored me that I looked up to dancing in the neighborhood, he said, if you go to New York and you can do your thing there, he said, you done did something. So when I moved to New York, they had a club called the Sugar Hill. And one night I was in there just with some co-workers, and they started playing house music. So I'm standing on the side. So this tall guy gets on the dance floor, and he must have been the neighborhood dance or whatever. So he in there just doing his thing. So I'm in the corner, and one of my coworkers say, what you know about that? And I just started laughing. He's like, what you laughing for? I said, I'm getting ready to kill him. He said, Jerome, he said, Hall, I don't see you doing that. He said, that dude right there, he been on Soul Train and all. He was just giving them accolades. I said, okay. So I waited, got me a little drink. I stood in that corner. And next thing you know, I was on the dance floor. I had closed my eyes and opened my eyes, and the whole club was just like, yo, who is this dude? And like all the co-workers like, yo, that's Hall. Look at Hall. He is going at him. And the guy after, he said, man, I ain't never have nobody step up and do me like you did. and from that day, my co-workers like, yo, y'all got to see Hall at the club, yo. That's an out-of-body experience. So I always been known growing up dancing, and back in the day when break dancing, I had my little crew. I wanted to be in music and hip hop, but my father, he shut that down. He used to say, hip hop will never pay no bills and it ain't gonna be around that long. So now I look at my father, I say, see, if you would have been quiet and supported me, I could be we could be living the luxurious life, but you ain't want to support it. You said it don't pay no bills. I said, hip hop been around 50 years now. I'm 56. It's been around 50 years. Yeah. My father like, yeah, I think I did a bad thing. I think I took a wrong decision on that one. Because, my father grew up like our parents. He a Temptation man.
Yeah.
Back in the day when hip hop first started, you couldn't go to no cookout and say, play Jungle Brothers or something. My father like, if it ain't Temptations, it ain't the Osley Brothers or the Four Top. They won't be played at this cookout. Yeah. I'm like, yo, my father's so old school, man. Nobody want to hear that music. Now I love it. I watch YouTube, watch the Temptations, the original Temptations, and be like, yo, these songs is really hitting there. I understand them. I guess that's the level of your maturity when you start understanding them old songs and you really listen to them.
I mean, it's listen. The voices are beautiful, but the lyrics are the key.
The key.
The key. You know what I mean? Um, Before we move on, just hit a little bit about how you feel the Marine Corps made a difference with you.
It was the best decision I ever did in my life, becoming a dad and becoming a law enforcement officer. The Marine Corps, I just told somebody, not every day I had a good day in the Marine Corps, but the history, just to be called a Marine, we have a thing in the Marine Corps. You can never take that title away from me. When I earned that title, August the 25th, 1987, you can never take, I could be laying in the grave 100 years. And if somebody said, oh, he was in the Marine Corps, that rings bells. And people nowadays, you know, people go in the military, and I have met some Marines, they didn't learn nothing. They didn't learn esprit de corps. They didn't learn never give up on life, always charge hard, be respectful. And like we was talking earlier off before we started the podcast, being a black man, I'm still a black man. Yeah, the Marine Corps, people don't know, it was like one of the racist service for Marine Corps. We only had, when I was in, we only had one black general, and that was General Peterson. He was the only black general. But then, a few years later, in 2000, I learned about the Marfa Point Marines. They was the first black Marines in the Marine Corps when it was segregated. I mean, some of them was assaulted because they had Marine uniforms on. You can't be a Marine. So the history from that to now is unmatched. And I love all the branches of the service. But it's something about being a Marine. I can't explain it. Like, I still put my clothes in the cleaners. I'm still saying yes, sir, no, ma'am. When I hear the national anthem, I still stand up at attention. And I tell people all the time, I don't care what this country done. I don't want to live nowhere else. I'm going to show respect. Yes, if they say America do have bloods on its hands when it comes to African Americans, but I'm still going to show respect. And I didn't have issues at basketball games, high school games, and they have the national anthem, and you hear kids or even adults, I'm not standing up. And it be burning me. Like, it burns me so deep. You're not standing up. Do you know the reason why you speak English is because of Marines, sailors, soldiers, airmen that fought for you, to be able to speak English, to be able to say how you really feel about the government? Don't never forget that. Don't never forget that. And I'm the only Marine in my family. I have Army, Air Force, all day in my family, but I am the only Marine on the Hall side of the family. Yeah. And when I joined, I was scared, but I wasn't scared because I grew up with a parents and family that I had to say yes, sir, no, ma'am. So that didn't scare me. My AAU, my Pop Warner coaches, Jerome Walker, Rod Hill, Timmy Berman, man, they was like drill instructors, and I was scared of them before I was scared of a drill instructor. So they just set the path when I joined. Like I said, I graduated on a Sunday and left 3 days later for Paris Island because when I grew up, drugs had just hit. Crack had just came on scene, and I didn't want to be part of that. I didn't want to be, so I had to make my way. And I always tell people, always make your parents proud. And my parents still proud of everything I accomplished in life. I ain't saying I do everything right, but I know I do enough when my parents say I'm proud of my son. And that's all I want to live for, to keep them proud, smiling. And like my father said, you still have people come up to them today and say, I'm so proud of your son, the things he done accomplished. You know, this has been a lot, and I'm blessed. And, you know, I almost was out of here in March 2020. I got diagnosed with cancer, multiple melanoma cancer. And it changed my whole life. I had to give up my career. I had left the sheriff office after 15 years and joined the VA Veterans Police in Durham, North Carolina. And I had to resign in 2023 because I couldn't go back to work to be an officer. So, you know, just having that line of discipline and character, it kind of hurt me. But I know God got a plan. I don't know what the plan is, but I know I'm just doing the right thing, and I'm going to continue living like that.
Okay.
And I take that for real.
Yeah. So let's do this. This is for both you guys. More of a retrospective thing. First of all, fuck it. Who are you voting for and why? And we'll start with you, Jaquar.
Oh, you know what? I'm torn, man, for the absolutely most practical of reasons, man. Because if and when Donald Trump wins the presidency of America, man, I want my names on the right books. No, but I'm probably gonna
You're a silly dude.
you know vote for the for the lesser evil, man. I mean that's the position we're in. To even say that, basically is disrespectful to Kamala Harris and her potential to establish legacy. You know what I mean? So I mean, but we as Americans, man, the American political system is as fickle as a 15-year-old girl or boy or whatever, man. We don't know which direction we want to go.
Mm-hmm.
I will be voting Democrat though. I mean, because you know, Democratic ticket or whatever shades a little more to my way of thinking.
Okay. Jerome, what about yourself?
I ain't gonna say left of the two evils, but and my political way of thinking was when I was with the federal government in the 90s, I was a Republican. And the reason why at the time, because of the raises we was getting. I didn't look at what was going on. I just know we was getting big raises. But as times then changed and stuff like that, I was a liberal for a long time. So now I'm a Democrat. And like you said, the thing with me, I will vote Democrat, but I just do not understand why people that look like us want to vote for Trump. And this is a personal story. I had one of my Marine brothers call me recently and tell me, was yelling at me. You don't know what's going on, because I spoke on Project 2025. You don't know what's going on, da 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 da. And I just wanted to say everything that has happened has happened. And this is a retired law enforcement officer that retired from Maryland DOC. Tell me everything that was right with Trump. And I said, I don't see no right. I said, I will say he is a businessman and he does move like a business and he is aggressive with policies. But to be non-educated, I just got my AA degree in May. I have more education than the former president. You speak, you talk, you put things in the policy that women can't have their own decisions. They can't make their own decisions. I don't know. And for people that look like me that don't want to vote, because I have a few friends that do not like to vote because they feel that the government never did nothing for them. But I always ask them, where else would you live at? For the person that you are, that I know, for several of them, the way they talk, the way they act, the way they move, where could you do that at? You can't do that in no other country. You can't walk down the street and talk about the president of the United States or the government. In some countries, they kill you and your family. You can't do that. In the United States, you can talk about, you can say Trump can go jump off a short bridge and all that. Ain't nothing gonna happen to you. Go to these other countries. What can you do that at? That's what I have a problem with. And Kamala, she's a sister. And I ain't voting for her because she's a sister, but she's an educated sister. And for her to, they saying what were her policies, how she think. I heard all the stories about the people that she locked up, and we talked about this too, Armstrong, before we started the podcast. I don't know the whole story on that. But the thing is, like your brother said, the lesser two evils. So you're gonna vote for somebody that's gonna change everything in America. Project 2025 is real. It's real. So from January the 6th to all of that. So you think everything right with him is good. I don't see no good. What? They say the taxes was better, the money was better. No, he took over policies that was before him. So I'm going to vote Democrat, and I hope other people look at it, because if Donald Trump get in there, it's going to be some changes. It's going to be some changes. There's going to be some changes in America. And if you ain't ready, I don't know what to say. I really don't know what to say for you.
I'll be honest with you. I will be voting for the vice president, right? And here's my reasoning, because I don't know if the conservative or whoever's in control of the media, what happened on January 6th and the fact that he was partially complacent with what that happened, where they keep saying the insurrection. They say that's a lighter word than the fact that it was a damn attempted coup, to be honest with you. You know what I mean? And for it to be treated a certain way, because what he did, I said this last week, he is an avatar of hate for all hateful people. Meaning Donald Trump has done one thing consistently. He has spit out hate. May not be a particular. You could say it's a particular group that he's hateful for. No, I'm talking about the actual energy of hate. This man, you understand what? Especially when he attacked the young lady at the black woman's press corps that with those black young ladies. He attacked that woman. That was a technique because he knew that he really didn't have any answers. So he attacked her and tried to make her feel small. See, most people don't get it. Most people don't see that's what he did. And that's what he always does. He always attacks so you don't zero in on. They point out his untruths all the time, every time he gets up there and speak, right? They point out how hateful he is, right? But then you got other people. That's why I call him the avatar of hate, because you still have people who really support him. And the black folks who in my opinion, last thing I'm gonna say, in my opinion, the black folks who support him, all the fuck they want to do is get attention. You understand what I'm saying to you? Because they're doing it for a bag. That's what they're doing it for. So yeah, I'm getting up here. You don't understand. Donald Trump, no matter how many times another journalist makes them look bad, they still keep coming. Now, am I gonna call them a sellout? No, I'm gonna call them worse. They're fools, man. They're fools. This is what they are. Because look, I'm just going to stop right there. You know why? Because it doesn't make any sense to talk for sense that people should have. If you understand what I'm saying to you. Logic. How am I defending logic when I shouldn't have to defend logic? That is the craziest thing to me. It really is. But am I, befuddled, confused? No. It's just a simple fact like, man, this man has been involved in so much, right? Just by his sheer presence. That's what it is.
Even with the veterans, he said something with the veterans. He said when John McCain was living, he quoted and said, "I don't like people that become hostages. I like free veterans." Mm-hmm. The man was held captive for years, and you're gonna say that? And then when they had the ceremony, me and my Marine brother going back and forth, and he said that veterans was dumb at a memorial. Oh, he didn't say that. They just, people ain't just making these things up. And with anger, with hate, I just have one thing that in my couple of months, I just want to talk to people that have hate, Aryan Brotherhood, the Klan, white supremacists, and ask them, where in your mind or where would you talk that African Americans did not have a stable in this country to contribute to the United States? Tell me, show me where, because you hate the people of dark skin or dislike us for whatever reason, but where in history do you not know that we did not contribute to the welfare and the being of the United States? You can show me, I'm gonna look it up, but you're gonna be wrong, because we had some hands in the growth of this country from the time it was found till now.
Some,
And
yeah,
and the thing about and the thing about those guys, man, is the fact that if you trace their lineage, they're Irish, they're Italian, they're Czechoslovakian or whatever. Those people were getting shit on by their own people before they decided to turn white. They
but,
weren't
but, but,
considered
but,
white.
but hold on,
If
man. You know they had a 90-day probational period before they can be considered white. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Irish and the Italians and they were not considered Anglo-Saxon white here. They were not. They were included in. They were because they became and look, this could be found, but they became
I
police
heard that.
officers, they became firemen, they became useful to build the numbers. You feel what I'm saying? To build the numbers. Now, if you disagree, that's fine. I don't care. I don't care if you disagree or not. Because what I'm saying, and I believe Jerome and Jaquari saying, is the fact that we looked it up. We looked it up. And which most of you guys don't. Y'all take things for face value, man. I've never, my police background, and I believe you two gentlemen the same thing, always has me to follow up on every piece of information that I get. Not because I doubt that person who's giving me this information, I doubt what they're saying, has nothing to do with it. It has the simple fact that I like being right. And everybody else should like being right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it. But I tell you what.
It's just a scary. It's a scary thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely a scary thing. And then you have, just like we was talking about law enforcement earlier, you have things that happen, and for me and you to be in law enforcement, and people say, "Oh, you a sellout, you doing this," but right is right, wrong is wrong. That's how I live. You can say what you want. I didn't have family members incarcerated. I didn't have family members addicted to drugs and all of that. And I never heard them complain. Never. My family members that did time, I never heard them complain like the way I hear people complain where I used to work at the different agencies. I worked in the state prison, I worked in the federal prison, and I worked in the county prison, the county jail. And hear the complaints, I'm like, well, if I'm a sellout, so what I supposed to do? What I supposed to do? I'm supposed to just jump on board and do wrong? And no, because you have, like I said earlier, the Armstrong, if you look at the history of us, people that came a long way, didn't have nothing, became lawyers, doctors, architects. We didn't done a lot. So it's no excuse, especially the technology we have now, is no excuse. I went to school after 30-something years of being out of high school. And the only reason I went to school because my son was having issues in math, which I still have issues in. But I wanted to show him, don't give up. Raise your hand, ask questions. And he graduated. So that's the part I don't get. With this politics thing, you hear everything, like you say, the media, it just stirs you up. Like, what do I do? Got to buy more guns, bullets? I mean, what I got to do? I got to buy me a bunker. I tell my wife all the time, I might as well invest in a bunker.
I've had those conversations though with people who say that I was a sellout because I had a certain position or whatever. But I simply asked them, man, who would you rather have in that position? Me or Billy Bob? You know? Oh, I'd rather they just be free. Well, these people, these people are guilty of crimes. In some cases, heinous crimes, bro. You just want them just to be out and just do what they want and be free to do what they want. No, you want somebody in a position, man, that hopefully put some good words in their ear, man. Show them a good example show them a good example of how a man conducts himself. So all that sellout bullshit, you can keep that, man, because when we were before segregation, when we were policing our own, our own communities, man, how were the police officers treated back then? I imagine they were respected because it was us policing us. It was us, taking care of our communities and everything. But now, nowadays, if you choose to, go into that career path or whatever, you're seen as less than. Would you say that to a doctor? Would you say that to a black doctor? Would you say that to, to a black male man? That's how you going? That's this man. We are too busy, man, picking our collective salads, man, and consuming the things that really are no good for us, man, and leaving the nutritious lettuce of life in the fucking bowl, man. That's what we do as a community of black people. We glorify you know gang culture. We glorify drug culture. You know, we are not the purveyors of that shit. We might have a certain level of proficiency, yeah, but who doesn't? What community doesn't? It's not just us. And as I just said, we're not the creators, man. We're more than that. And the thing that really kills me is when we don't see that we're more than that.
You know,
It-
just to speak on, okay, I've always been, and I went to, other than the NBA, I was at the highest level of basketball, playing in the Big East Conference, University of Pittsburgh, right? And I saw around me what it really was. It was a blessing for me to be there, but also it didn't make me special. What it did was confirm that I earned being there, right? But I've always been angry at the notions that we've always made our sports stars our heroes. You can be my sports hero, but I'm thinking about life heroes. There's other people I can think of. My father, my mother,
mhm.
but teachers, you know what I mean? Black doctors, just so on and so forth, right? So I've always been a hard liner when it came to that, where these men, these famous men are our representation. I never believed that. Sports people as our people, our representation. And then I
But
saw something the other day, which it didn't change my mind. It didn't change my mind about it, but I saw when it comes to our sports, black men, first the boxers and the Olympians and stuff like back in the day, Jesse Owens, Jack Johnson, all these different men, right? The Brown Bomber, Joe Louis, right? They were the first of us to be accepted by white people. Our sports dignitaries, our sports heroes. They were the first to be accepted because they were revered as these larger than life things. So they were the front lines, right? Even though in the background, we have doctors, inventors, and all these different architects and all these different things, men and women of color that's doing fantastic, glorious things, right? But it was never promoted, right? Never promoted because the sports and entertainment aspect of it was the one thing that, quote unquote, was accepted in this country.
if I could put another spin on it, man, I mean, not disputing your, or anything like that, man. Sports is when you think about it, no matter what the level is, man, sports is the one great equalizer. Everybody's touched a football or basketball or ran in some capacity. You know, not now when it comes down to specialization, the medical field, law enforcement, not everybody's suited for that. But
But it's more. It's more than we're being told, though, man. See,
yeah,
that's
it
a
absolutely
lot,
is, man.
man.
But as
A lot.
far as in regards to public acceptance, man, uh, everybody's got a shot on the court. Everybody's got a shot on the field, man.
Yeah.
You know, and
Back then, but now with the new
yeah,
way they coach kids, everybody get a trophy. I wasn't mad when I was growing up and I didn't get MVP or I wasn't the star. I had a coach,
yeah,
his name is Jerome Walker, the greatest man in my life, one of the greatest men in my life. He used to dog me all the time. And I remember I said one day, why is he always on me and I'm not the star of the team? And you know what he told me as years old, and I always, when I see him, I hug him. He said, the reason why I was on you, because I knew you could handle it. I knew that you was going to handle it. You was going to do what I say, and there wasn't going to be no talk back because the way you was raised. And I used to be like, okay. And even at the sheriff office, I had a Lieutenant Thorpe, used to stay on me. I was like, why is he on me? But then when I got promoted to sergeant, he was so proud that I got promoted. And when I seen him, God rest his soul, because he passed away last year, he said, remember what I told you? You doing what I told you, ain't you? He used to tell me, you make this money. Don't let that money make you. Make this money, then do what you got to do. Don't worry about nobody else. And I respect that. And when y'all was saying sports heroes, yeah, they sports. I look at them. But my father, my grandfather, Daniel Hall, all of them, my aunt, my uncles, Captain Street, retired Maryland Transportation Authority Police, my uncle Wallace, Army, my uncle Thomas, Army, my uncle Tony, Bishop, they live in Hawaii, God rest his soul. All of them was my heroes. People in the neighborhood I used to look up to. People, I'm talking people that was my age. David Bagley Monk, he was my team captain. I used to look up to him because he was a straight A student. He had them classes that I knew I wasn't going to never take, calculus and all that. And I used to look at him. I was like, Monk is the same age as me. And they's the heroes. I just don't understand. Like I asked somebody recently, should we be without social media? Will we be all right? Because everybody on social media are getting likes and all this, for us blacks. And three people told me, yeah, we should do away with it. It should go away because I don't get it. And we always want to support black business and black people doing stuff, but it's that customer service. I say it all the time. I'm the biggest one that support a black business. But when your customer service, my shirt's missing, stuff spelled wrong. But then if I go to a company in Ohio and it might be a white company, nothing is wrong. Pay the money on time, nothing is wrong. So I think it's with us as people, we need to do better. Like I always celebrate black excellence on social media. I have a page, the Battle of the Badges, Law Enforcement Basketball, Public Safety Basketball Tournament. I'm always promoting anybody of color that gets promoted. Law enforcement, firefighter, anything I see, I promote it. So on LinkedIn, somebody asked me, why is it always got to be about color? And one of y'all said it, I don't know which one. If the playing field was level, we wouldn't have to say we the first of it. We wouldn't have to say that. So when you say that's the first black this and first black that, because the playing field wasn't level. So we have to take acknowledgement and congratulate the people that made that step. If Kamala Harris, if she wins the presidency, she will be sworn in by a black Supreme Court justice. And today I did not know the Supreme Court justice is a Delta Sigma Theta. And Kamala Harris is an AKA. So that's history in itself. But people don't see that. People don't see that. I had to find that out today. I didn't know about the Supreme Court justice, that she was a Delta. And I had to hear that from Ricky Smiley. So I just don't.
Okay.
The thing that we've got to acknowledge, as a black community, man, is the fact that first of all, it's a shame that we're still in a position that we have to recognize first or whatever. But the world is changing in a sense that, man, we're it's people coming behind us, man. And they're going to have an opportunity to say that they were the first. Also, you look at the Spanish population of America. You know, it's a foot on their neck too. But as far as local politics, man, they're strong in local politics, and they're steadily building their bases. Okay, so we have historically been the example for each and every aspect of the world. Since the world started to acknowledge this or whatever. So, in regards to social media, man, and the way that we conduct ourselves as men, we got to be very careful of the examples that we put out for the world to follow. We've got to be. We've got to curate that shit. We've
I
got to
agree.
curate it. And
And
I hardly see any effort for that curation.
okay, let's put it like this. I see both your points, and I'm agreeing with them. But I'm gonna throw a little bit of spin on it. Jerome, yeah, we don't need to do away with it, because prior to this, all we had was what was fed to us. You know what I mean? And our black newspapers and publications didn't have a nationwide circulation.
Right.
So when we got something, it was word of mouth. When I say the information is there, it really is. But what we do, and this is just speaking in general, what we do is we use social media for entertainment. Like this platform here, this is a conversational platform. This is what we're doing. This is how we do this thing. Everybody should have a different opinion about everything, right? Or a different spin about the same thing, because we're all individuals, right? I think, and this is my opinion about it, I think that we deal too much in the extreme,
I agree.
and not understanding what is actually happening, right? So you think about it. Kamala Harris. Yeah, people will always say that they say that white folks that say that about their women, they slept their way to the top. Whether she did or not, guess what? She has more political experience than Donald Trump has, because he wasn't really he was just a talking head when he was president. I'm talking about experience. I'm not talking about what job he held. I'm talking about experience of how to navigate through things, right? So I am bothered by one thing. Say you got a bunch of cherries, and this is my black perspective, right? You got a bunch of cherries, right? When I say a bunch, about 40 individual cherries right there. 2 of those motherfuckers had worms devour them and all this, right? But you saying that those 50 cherries are messed up because of those 2. This is how we are looked at. And this is how we look at each other. You understand what I'm saying? Where we get so worried about how our image is that it will ruin all right. And this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Being canceled. What the fuck is being canceled? Can you please if you're not making money, right, from a particular thing, and you're losing advertising dollars, how can somebody cancel you? But guess
That's a
what?
good question.
Everybody's worried about being what?
Canceled.
You see what I'm saying? If you're not worried about getting fired by something what you say, right? Not worried about any money or losing your friends, or if you're not worried about those things, about what you say, why does being canceled have a heavy burden on our neighborhood, on our community?
And I think,
because
go
because
ahead.
in our subconscious, man, I think this about every American citizen, man. In our subconscious, man, it's been ingrained in us that a real American male, let's say for instance, man, has to pull himself up by his bootstraps,
Yeah,
and he's got to maintain his family from the sweat of his brow. Now, when you start to interject things like cancellation, that totally kind of like negates his efforts from a standpoint of the outside.
gotcha.
Okay, now if I build a bridge and when I'm done, I put a stick of dynamite in the middle of it and blow it the fuck up. That's on me,
Mm-hmm.
you know. But if I build that same bridge and everybody's traveling across it or whatever, and somebody, I have a slip up, and society blows that bridge up. What am I to do? That's my opinion.
I get it, and it's, you pretty much saying what I was saying. Go ahead, Jerome.
Um, I'm dealing with that now. Far as like not cancellation, like worried about what people gonna say, but far as friends, like when you have friends, I had a friend, my Marine Corps brother. He used to tell me, everybody ain't your homeboy. You always say that's my man right there. That's my man. He said, when something go down, who do you call? And I said, you. He said, well, how's that your man? You only see him at the E Club or wherever. And I didn't mean to say, I asked a question about social media. I love social media because social media, I have met officers from all over the country. With me, I don't know about y'all, but with me, I'm in so many Facebook groups of law enforcement that I just promote law enforcement basketball all day, all day, all day. And it's not about bragging, but I'm just putting it out there. Hey, if you don't play ball, come take a trip. Come to Atlanta. Come to Dallas. Come to North Carolina and see the tournament. Meet somebody from a different agency. And when you say cancel, that's why I say social media could be so good. And I have friends. I ain't on Facebook. I'm like, why? You can meet old schoolmates, and I be promoting social media because my parents wasn't on social media. And
Yeah,
then all of a sudden, somebody said, Jerome, is your mother named Gail Brenda Hall? And I said, yeah, why? She sent me a friend request. I said, my mother ain't sent you no friend request. They like, yes, she did. I was like, no, she did not. Because my parents, my mother and father said, we don't need no Facebook. We ain't worried about it. They can't get off of it. They can't get off of it. So it's a good thing. But the cancel thing, like everything that's going on with Sean Puffy Combs, he worried, he like he gonna lose everything. But where is your inner self and say, you know what? Pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Let me get right. Do the right thing. I lost a federal job. My first federal job, I was on the job for 10 years and I got fired. And I'm going to say this because y'all said I can speak my truth. I almost committed suicide because I lost the job. And when I told my mother, she looked at me like I had lost my everlasting mind and said, what you going to do that for? People lose jobs every day. And when I was going through, I was crying, called my father. And I said, Daddy, what I'm going to do? He said, what you going to do is stand up, pull your pants up, and you're going to get out here, get you another career, and get it moving. That's why I say I know I am blessed because I got fired from the government, got another job when I was told I can't go back into law enforcement no more. Got hired, went to 2 agencies, got promoted as a sergeant, and then got back with the government, and then I got sick. So with all that being said, I think we as Black people, we need to get back to that faith thing. Call him what you want, Muhammad, Buddha, Jesus, whatever. He got so many names. Call him what you want to call him. But we as Black folks, we need to get back to that. I don't care because everybody believes in something. When you close your eyes at night, you might not call him Jesus. You might not call him what I call him, but you do take that to a whole nother level. And when it comes to cancer, you'll never be canceled. Long as you breathing on this earth, I don't think you will never be canceled. You might lose some things, some things of substance, your car, your house, even your marriage, but you can still get back from it because people have got back from it. And I think, being canceled, I don't like that word, truthfully, but I don't think you could never be canceled in America. You just have to find another way. You lose a job, you find another job. Might not be the job you want. And when I lost my job in law enforcement, I had to do, as they say, rent a cop. I had to do loss prevention at Kmart. This is a true story. Kmart, where I had a badge and I was proud. I was so humble. Kmart made me so humble when I got back into prison, North Carolina DOC at Central Prison, Maximum Security Prison. I knew that's where I needed to be at. And God showed me, as they say, he sat me down. If you want to call it, I was canceled or fired and canceled, but I still got up and got right. You see what I'm saying? And we just have to do better. I used to say I'm not old enough to understand things. And I'm going to always say that because some things in the world, I can't put my finger on it. I might not have the verbiage to say it, but I just don't understand sometimes what's going on.
Oh, yeah.
And what about the notion, man, that if you feel strongly enough about an issue, being canceled or whatever, it shouldn't even matter. If you feel like you need to say it, you need to say it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I respect the person a lot more, man, going into the situation like that. Like, hey, it is what it is.
But is one thing I told Armstrong that when we were in law enforcement for a particular agency, when all the black shootings was going on and all these things, these cops that was not trained to do was doing, people would come to us. How you feel about this? How you feel about that? And people like, why you ain't saying nothing on social media? And I told Armstrong, I said, I'm not going to lose my way of life for speaking something because I'm mad. My protest is my silence. And that's how I was. Because where we worked, had I went on social media and said what I really, truly felt, I wouldn't have no job. So when it comes to stuff like that, you just have to, and I got friends. I don't care about this. I don't care about that. That's fine. That's how you look at it. I don't look at it like that. Because you can say something, and the way people on social media, these jobs now, they could pull up a YouTube post or an Instagram post and say, oh, that's how you felt? That's how you truly felt? And you want to work for us? Then you won't get the job. And then you like, I shouldn't have said that. So sometimes you just have to humble yourself and just keep moving forward. Even when you lose friends, you keep moving forward. Because you lose a friend, you gain a friend. That's what I was taught. If I lose a friend today, I'm going to gain a new one tomorrow. And just keep on moving.
You don't lose friends, they lose you, man. Because
I heard that.
Look, I think just to reiterate what I was saying, what the fuck is being canceled is I have always been a human being when it came to who I am, not depending on other people's opinion about me. Because when they love you, they lie to you. When they hate you, they lie to you.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying to you? Mm-hmm. And it may not be that extreme, but what it is the fact the people who love you don't want to hurt you. You see what I'm saying? They don't want to hurt you, so they're not going to give you the full truth. The people who hate you, they pretty much are on this kind of vein. Oh, I'm going to try my best to double down on, I want him to be miserable. I want her to be miserable. So I'm going to exaggerate what I see. You feel what I'm saying? Because and I've said this these last 2.5 years, and this is a reiteration of how I feel. In order for you to be happy, it is you that must make you happy.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
I mean, that's it. I don't care if you have the most loving wife, the most loving husband, ladies. If you are not happy with you, they will not be able to keep you happy. You're going to be miserable because you have not looked in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And let me put it like this. That's a lifelong thing. That ain't just no, I got it and I just read the chapter and now I'm cool. No, it's like you looking into yourself every moment of your life because you are the steward of your happiness, period. You know what I mean?
And they say one life. I had a friend say all the time, you only have one life. Ain't no do-overs. Ain't no comeback. This it. When this is over, that's it. And I struggle with that being truly happy. Like I love the Battle of the Badges. I love everything about it. But have in the 20, almost 25 years, I've had some haters. I've had some people say some things, you know, like with the Battle of the Badge, it is law enforcement. But we used to have guest players. I had Baby Shaq from And One, if y'all know who that is. He played on the team as a guest. He was about 30, 40 pounds heavier, wasn't jumping out the gym, but he was a guest player. Oh, they said I was a cheater, da-da-da-da-da. But other teams that have played in the Battle of the Badges had pro players. A guy played on the team, a New York agency team, and somebody said, did you see the D-League? I turned on the TV. He's the starting center on the D-League. I called an officer. I'm like, yo, what happened? You know what he said? Oh, man, Hall, you said we could have a guest. I said, a guest player is nobody that's current in the NBA, college, or high school. We work every day. You know what I'm saying? We work every day. Right. So you can be, he played And One. He was a phenomenon sensation on some videotapes. Okay. I didn't have enough players. I added them. But you should have heard, I heard the comments.
Yeah.
I heard the comments. And it was hurtful because I know I put everything into it. And I always say, since we've been on this podcast, my friends say this. And my friends say, why you always do things for other tournaments? Like, I'll promote another tournament. I'm the only officer that put all the flyers together, all the information, and I send it out. And I tell my friend, because we used to go back and forth, I said, my legacy is written. Nowhere in the United States you can't say Battle of the Badges without saying Jerome Hall. My legacy is written. So that's how I look at it. But, you know, she would say, well, why you always do this and do that? I said, because I'm thinking it's for the greater good of everybody. It's for the greater good. If you don't go to my tournament, you might go to the Dallas shootout. And the first thing you might say is, yeah, Jerome Hall on Facebook sent me the flyer and I thought I'd just come to the tournament. And I don't even know the person. You know how I mean? People that came to the tournaments and said, I met you on Facebook. I wanted to see what it was about. And the first thing they do, NYPD, I call them my Beyonce because everybody want to play somebody from New York. I hate to say it. And when they come, they be like, that's New York. That's New York. And the teams that's not strong, of course you want to play against NYPD. I have got blown out by NYPD, and I have beat NYPD. I have beat Rikers Island before, and they have beat the bricks off of me before. But it's like, okay, let me keep going. And Armstrong can tell you, I have a team, USA Lockdown. We're the only team that do not practice. We from Maryland, D.C., Georgia, and all of these officers didn't have an agency. I said, let me put a team together. And that's how I started USA Lockdown. And all I do is put the call out, we go. Now, we haven't played in a minute because they want to play competitively. They just don't want to put a team together and go to these cities and play. And we got some hoopers. But like I tell them, I've been doing this almost 25 years. Any team you play, I can pretty much talk on them. But if you don't listen to me and you get out there and shot a jumper, a 3-pointer since 1988, but you come out in 2003 and you want to shoot jumpers and look at me and say, that's my bad. I'm going to make up for that. I don't know what to tell you, bro. You say you know the game. I ain't been to college and played, but I'm kind of confused on that. So I just say the conversation we having, it's a great conversation, but that cancel, when somebody say, I'm going to cancel you, you say, you know what? You're right. You're going to cancel me, but I'm going to move on to the next one and keep going. But in this social media area, you want likes. You got, like we was talking about earlier, you got people on YouTube confessing that they have told on people and they tell it. And like a rapper said, I'm not scared of the person. I'm scared of the people around the person.
Yeah.
So when you hear that, you like, why is these people talking like that? Like Charleston White, you say all this you say. Well, what's the motivation about it? You always say you for the community, but why you always talking about stuff you have no business talking about? I don't talk about stuff I know nothing about. Ain't nobody gonna call Jerome and say, Jerome, you gonna put a golf tournament together? I know nothing about golf. I just watch it. If Tiger Woods playing or somebody I like, that's all I know. I would never do it. So never talk about stuff you know nothing about. But from politics, people do it. You know, like a friend told me, hey, Project 2025, did Donald Trump say he's going to be supporting it? He don't have to say he's supporting it. The man wrote it for him.
Well, first of all, his vice president is one of the main people that his the cat that he's running with. One of the main people that is around. All right, let's do this. Then we'll go ahead and take this on home. When it comes to this trying to get your bearings at the ages that you are right now, maneuver through life right now, right? What is the most difficult thing that you find at the age that you're now as you're moving through? What you find difficult to get through, to that's annoying to you, to whatever? It's a miscellaneous question, but I'm going somewhere with it.
Well, for me, I think is to love the way that I give love and support. It never comes back, even with the battle of the bands. I'm only speaking from stuff that I experienced. I always used to ask myself, why I ain't never had an interview like before this, or why I ain't never been, honored or stuff. Yes. Have my staff honored me? Yes. Have I been on the news? Yes. But just what, I used to sit back and say, if what I'm doing is not irrelevant in the world, it's not a blessing. Now I heard it from people, but I still struggle with that, because some of the people that have done tournaments, they have got big donations, they did big things. Have the battle of the badges? No, not really. But I'm blessed. And then I have to sit back and say, I never did the battle of the badges to get anything from it. Everybody know how to do a tournament and make money. Easy. It's really easy. But I didn't do it for that. I did it to honor the fallen officer, to let the family know your loss is our loss. And as long as the battle of the badges is running, that your family member will always be remembered. And that's how I did it. That's how I came to it. But I do struggle with that from time to time. And the other thing is, like I said before, just loving people like I care. You, my friend, I'm going to go all out for you. I'm going to go all out. But do you reciprocate that? Even being married, sometimes I feel my wife ain't reciprocating it like she should to me. But I know that she do care. And that goes back to the way you was raised, the way you look at things. Because I was told some people grew up loving, and some people grew up to survive. I grew up loving. I grew up in love. Some people grew up to survive, and that just recently told to me, and I'm standing on that. Some people grew up in love, and some people grew up to survive. And what I mean by survive, you learn how to survive in life. You might not got that love, that hug. Hey, I love you. You look good. Da 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 da. And I can go on and on, but that's my take on it.
That's a good view on things. Ja'Cory.
Well, my issue is something similar to Jerome's, man, in the fact that I tend to project my demeanor, my feelings about things, and the way I would handle situations on other people, and I dig a very deep hole of disappointment for myself when that those things differ. You know what I mean? Because I mean, if it was left up to me, man, I would be pulling my halo down every 10 minutes and polishing it or whatever, man. So it being realistic, it's not really fair for me to project those things on people, because they're going humans is going human. So as far as me to have any expectation of similar behaviors to to my behaviors or whatever from other people. It's not fair. It's not fair, man. So me giving giving a person, a man or a woman, room to be who they are, it ain't always been the easiest for me.
Yeah.
So a lot of things I have an opinion on, but I won't speak on because I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be looked on as judgmental, as judgmental as I may be. You know.
Okay. Uh, I think the lack of communication with one another always seems to be the hindrance. And what I mean by that is I'm either an angel or a devil after a conversation with somebody. And what I want in my heart to be, and it feels good to be revealed. Sometimes it feels good to be the bad guy, right? But really and truly, when I communicate with you, I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to evolve into something more because we never stop growing. We never stop learning. I want to be in between. I want to be there in between where there is a mutual exchange of information and emotion, and everybody can truly say that that's what happened. So my hindrance to me is communication with your loved ones, with your friends, with your coworkers, with everything. Now, I understand that, times and places they vary and you deal with things the way you do. But I'm just talking about this in a perfect world, that's what I would want.
Do you feel that every conversation needs to have a goal or destination?
No. But I do need, well, kinda, but no. Because I don't like making points. I don't believe in making a point when I'm talking to you. Like say you and I, Jaquari, we've known each other all our lives. So if I call you up and say, hey man, this here is just nerve wracking to me, man. What you think? Even though I have formed my own opinion, what you think? I'm actually listening to you for your answer. You understand? It's
Hmm.
not a goal. I'm asking you a question for your answer, not so I can dump everything on you, that my frustrations on you. Because if I was frustrated, I would start off, Jaquari, I'm frustrated as fuck. You understand what I'm saying to you? No, I'm asking you a question. I'm asking you that question because I want to know your answer. That's kind of, just to clean it up to what I'm talking about. You know what I mean? Because I think that's what lacks, man, where our community it has a slow forward movement is we don't,
Listen,
yeah, we don't listen to
listen,
each other. We tell each
and
other.
and we don't value opinions. And
Yeah,
I have to be honest. I used to think one way. I'm not even gonna lie about the military, about law enforcement, why people don't think like that. But people have their own experience in life, and I have to value your opinion. Man, I might not agree, but
yeah,
if you ask me a question, I'm going to respond. But if you ask me something and you want me to listen, that's what I have to do. We have to be more listeners. Like I have to listen. Like with me and my wife could say some things, and I might not agree, but I listen, and then I might come back and say, well, you be right. I always come back and say, you was right about that. Because I might not have seen that point at that time. But as the African American community, I think we have to do more than listening. But we so hell bent on, I got to get my point across. I want to do this is what I say. And I'm being honest. Yes, I probably was like that with a few friends.
But you know what though, Jerome? Here's the thing. Let's get our point across with the people who trying to take our point from us, not with each other. You feel what I'm saying?
Gotcha.
Because to me, it won't serve me at all if I'm mad about a particular supervisor, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then somebody who's willing to listen to me or not willing to listen to, I start an argument or they start an argument with me, my problem is still there with that supervisor. You know what I mean? But now I've sparked a issue with this person who I didn't have an issue with. You know what I'm saying? It's that's all. I mean, I think the human condition is what it is, bro. It's hard. It's hard to navigate. I just think we're too hard on each other. We are too hard on each other. But then we reward negative behavior these days now.
Mm-hmm. Instead of giving people that flowers while they're here. And I do that all the time. I do that. When I see somebody doing something, I'm always trying to congratulate them. That's an accomplishment, especially if I don't really know you, but I know what you've been through. Yeah. Like on social media. I have some friends that went to school. I follow them. Like one lady in particular. She went to school. Single mother, went to school. And I was following her. She was like, I'm raising my son by myself. And she finished and got a good job now. And I congratulate her. She's like, I thank you so much for that. I said, we don't know each other, but you need to hear that sometime. And it goes a long way just to tell somebody, hey, I see what you're doing. I love what you're doing. And you might not even think nothing of it. And I get that recently. I've been getting that about the Battle of the Badge from people I don't even really know like that on social media. Can you tell me about the Battle of the Badge? I tell them, wow, you've been doing it for 2026 will be 25 years. And I plan on stopping. And I told somebody, they're like, you've been doing this for 25 years. I'm like, yeah. They was like, you should be on the Mount Rushmore. And I was laughing. I was like, no, I shouldn't. They're like, yes, you should. 25 years? Some people don't even live that long. Yeah. I was like, yeah. But I think like we have to do more listening and more congratulating. Because like you said, this world right now, we celebrating the wrong things. We celebrating gang culture, people telling this and that. No, we shouldn't be celebrating that at all.
Can I ask you, Jerome? Now you said the Battle of the Badges acknowledge fallen officers and everything. How do you guys make those selections or whatever? Do like the teams who come to the tournaments? Do they bring the names, or do you?
What I do is I follow the news and I read the stories. Some of the stories of how the officer died, how he was killed. And then I read the biggest thing before we honor anybody. I reach out to the family, husband, wife, if they're not married, sister, brother, cousin, and that's how I do. And if they don't give me permission, I don't even do it. So like it was a female in Orlando, and I think it was before COVID or during COVID. She was she was in uniform. A guy had just shot his girlfriend in Orlando. She was going to the Walmart, and as she was going to the Walmart, somebody said, hey, the guy they looking for is in the Walmart. And as he's coming out, she didn't go up. She didn't draw her gun. From what I was told, she was like, hey, can I talk to you? He shot her, stood over top of her, and shot her like 3-4 times in her face and killed her. And she didn't draw down on him because any other officer, after you didn't shot somebody, I probably would have put you on the ground. She didn't do that. She went up to him, hey, and he killed her. So when I read the story, of course, I contacted the officer in Orlando, and I was like, was she married? And he told me, yeah. So I do my little research on Facebook, social media, however I could find. And I found the husband. I sent him an email, told him what I was doing, showed him the history, and he gave me permission. And I think it was COVID. That's why we didn't do it. COVID or the gym. So like I say, when I put the battle, people don't understand. Gyms, when I first started, a gym was free. All I had to find out who was the janitor, pay him a couple $. He opened up the gym. I clean up. Like I said, my little cousin, his friends, paid him a couple $, they go get the trash out the stands. But now people that mess them relationships up, gyms costing between $2,000 to maybe $4,000. Referees was $25 a rep. Now, like if I do a tournament in Maryland, their going rate is $45 a rep. When I put it together, I don't have no money. So before I was married, anything falls short, Jerome Hall name is on it. You know, the insurance for a gym, that's $1 million insurance policy. That's like $500. I put that money back up. Then hopefully I'll get it back. But if not, it's just cost. Now that I'm married, my wife ain't let me take no $3,000, $4,000 out this house to run no basketball tournament. So it's just a whole lot to go. But when it comes to the fallen officers, I really just follow the news and see, can I honor them? Like we lost an officer here that I used to work with at the sheriff office. He was killed. I just recently talked to his sister and she gave me permission because their parents passed away. It's just only them two. Well, she's the only one left. So I plan on honoring him because we used to work in the jail together. And he died. And I'm honoring a female in Greensboro from Greensboro PD. She was on her way to work and she had, I want to say, a stroke aneurysm in her house before she went to work. Everybody thought she was at work and she was laying on the bed. And the crazy part is when she had a funeral, from what I was told, nobody from the agency showed up. They didn't give her a send-off like you would think.
What?
You're right. Only a couple people came, spoke. So when I talked to her mother, I had to explain who I was because some families, they don't want to deal with the agency.
Yeah.
Like the deputy, the last sheriff, he did some things and the family, the sister was very upset about it. So I had to tell her, listen, this is our own thing. We have nothing to do with the agency. Now, I do invite the agency because I use the agency's honor guard. So when I contact the agency, I say, can we do the honor guard? They come. So on Friday night, we have our open ceremony. That means we have somebody sing the national anthem. I give my welcome speech. We bring the family out. We have a plaque that we give them from the Battle of the Badges for their service and stuff like that. And like I said before, I'm a Marine. So in December, I have a Christmas tournament. We collect toys. So this year we're going to Charlotte. We honoring an officer. She had just came off maternity leave, was conducting traffic. It was an accident on 85. An 18-wheeler came around and swiped her and her co-workers, and she was the only one that died. And her husband is a firefighter for Charlotte, and he plays on the basketball team. And when I was at the tournament 2 years ago, I asked him, could I honor his wife? So this year we're going to Charlotte. So when we collect the toys, we give them to the Black Firefighter Association, and they're going to have their own toy drive. And I've been doing the Christmas tournament now 6 years. So I didn't collect it almost every year, almost 100 toys. So when people come, we charge the team fee for the teams. Each player and coach got to bring 2 brand new unwrapped toys. And I collect all the toys. The firefighters come give them, and we did it. Last year, we was in Raleigh. I am a Prince Hall Shriner, and we collected the toys. And our daughters, they had their own toy drive, and we collected all the toys, and they came. And my temple was so impressed, they didn't even know that I did it that long. So it's a lot. Like I said, it ain't just basketball. People look at it like, all y'all doing is playing. No, we do a lot. We do a lot. You got Clippers and Cops, our officer started, and we met him, and he's nationwide with it. We got officers getting tennis shoes, officers doing mentoring. It's a lot to go with the Battle of the Badge. Not just the Battle of the Badge, with law enforcement basketball as a whole.
You know what, man? It just struck me, man. You know, if you having problems securing referees, man, you know, that could be the next step. How about that? Y'all train referees for, you know, because it's more than a notion to, you know, be a referee and you know, Pop Warner games, man, little league games, pickup games or whatever. Anywhere that there's a referee required, man, you know, you got parents going back with the referees over calls or whatever, man. But you know, I don't think that would be as prevalent if they were police officers.
And that's a good idea. We do have one referee's name, Mr. Hers. He out of Fayetteville, and he books the refs. So I deal with one referee, and I tell him, hey, I got 20 games. I'm going to need 2 refs each game. Championship, I like to have 3. This is what I'm paying. And I know times has changed. Everything has changed now. Like I said, back in the day, I was paying $25 for a ref, $50 a game. times and change, and you just trying to make it work. Like I said, 2026 might be my last year, but I will support other tournaments. I will go show my face, shake my hand. Hey, how are you doing? Oh, and I seen a guy with the T-shirt on. He said, "Oh, look," and I said, "What is that?" He said, "This is the T-shirt when we came to Baltimore in 2003." I said, "It looked fresh." He said, "Man, I got 3 of them. I got them on in the closet." His wife said, "I wish he do something with them because he always tell me I'm gonna wear the next tournament. Legacy is there. That's when I leave this world. I want them to say Jerome did a good thing, and I hope another officer come behind me and say, 'Hey, man, let me take that mantle from you. Show me how to do it, and I'm gonna run with it.'" But I ain't had nobody step up yet and say they want to take it. Yeah. I'm hoping.
You find somebody and put it in their hands, man.
Yeah. I'm trying. I'm trying.
I
said I couldn't do this.
You cutting out, bro.
You cutting out, Rome. You good? Say something.
No, must be this laptop.
We hear you now.
All right, you can hear me now?
Yeah. Okay. This is the cue. You probably lagging a little bit behind, but here's the cue. Any last words? We'll start with you, Jerome, and then you, Jaquar, and then we'll take it on home. Still with us, Jerome?
Well, I'll go.
Okay.
And I hope he can hear.
Go ahead. If he comes in, we got him. We'll go ahead and
okay.
Last word.
I hope you can hear me, brother. Just 2 things. Well, 3 things, man. I appreciate your time, man. Thank you for coming and fellowshipping with us. We once we've had a guest on the podcast, man, your invitation is open, bro. I mean, you always have a place here with us on our platform, and last but not least, when you do start your own, man, I think you're gonna do a hell of a job, man. You did a hell of a job today, bro. Hell of a job.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, you sure did, brother. Go ahead, Jerome. Last words for the day.
Like I said, I'm sorry I was going in and out, but I want to thank you for the opportunity. This has been like a dream come true to me. Armstrong, we go back and forth all the time. You're definitely a mentor to me. Your accolades from college, retired as a law enforcement officer, that goes without saying. So I definitely want to say congratulations on that. I'm always here for you and your brothers. We brothers now. So anytime y'all want me to get on, just let me know. And I hope y'all podcasts go beyond and people really see it for what it's worth.
Hey, look, bro, Jaquari was not just saying it. You definitely can be reoccurring. We got 2 or 3 guys that's reoccurring, and we're going to add you to the list. So I'm going to be reaching out to you. And if you need me to give you what I have, how I got started on, I got you, man. But, I'll simplify it for you. But then when you're ready to spend the big bucks and become the podcaster extraordinaire, you know what I'm saying? Hey, invite us on, man.
Of course.
But here, just for housekeeping, this strong perspective, go to our YouTube channel. Please like, share, and subscribe for us. Okay, build us up. I'm going to say this. I say this in the beginning. I'm going to say it at the end. Every 5 to 10 minutes, we say something that could go viral. So if you have a big platform and you just so happen to be watching us, go ahead. You have our permission to take it. You know what I mean? Even though you may take it anyway, but take it. But just give us the credit. That's all I'm saying. Not the credit, but at least tell them where you got it from. You feel me? Tell them where you got it from. I want to thank John. Thank you, man. You always been a supporter of us, brother. Thank you. You had great comments. Cousin Eric, man, long time no see, man. Love you, brother. Thank you for your
long
comment.
time, bro. Long time.
Yeah. And we here every Friday. Today was the Saturday, but we here every Friday. Jerome, before tell them when you're gonna be in Charlotte again and who's it for?
The Battle of the Badges will be December the 6th through the 8th. We'll be honoring Officer. Give me 1 minute. We'll be honoring Officer from Charlotte PD. It'll be December the 6th through the 8th at Covina Community High School in Charlotte, North Carolina. We'll be honoring Police Officer Maya Figueroa Goodwin of the Charlotte Mecklenburg Police Department. The defending champions, two-time defending champions, 2022 and 2023 is U.S. Air Force, Langley, Virginia. Me being in the military, we have invited the military, and at this tournament, we'll probably have the U.S. Army from Fort Liberty, aka the Fort Bragg. We will have the U.S. Marine Corps. They call Montford Point Marines, and we'll have Langley Air Force Base. So we're hoping to have a good turnout. That weekend is ACC Championship football weekend. So it's a big weekend going on in Charlotte that weekend. So hopefully we come out. Hopefully I get you to come out for at least for the open ceremony. Maybe if your brother in town, y'all can come down, meet some people, bring some toys, and we'll definitely go from there.
No doubt. All right. Well, like I said, go like, share, and subscribe. Give us what you're gonna give us. And understand that, hey, this is a podcast promoting communication and also listening. All right, you guys enjoy the rest of your Saturday. Go USA, gold medal, baby.
74-38, 8:25 left.
Okay. This is Strong Perspective Podcast. See y'all next Friday. Good night.
Peace.